Hi guys, it's Musha and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video I'll be talking about the truth about being a single mother and what I've learned so far being a single mom. And yeah, I just thought I'd share with you that part of my life and yeah, just let you in a little bit on my side of things, my story. Everybody else is different. So if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you won't miss out on any videos that I upload. So yeah, without talking too much, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so I really haven't got a plan of how this video is gonna go, but hopefully you stick with me and yeah, get to listen to me talk about my experience of being a single mother and what advice I can give to you and all those type of things, and obviously get into the struggles and you know all those things. How do I even start? So obviously for most of you who don't know, I didn't even realize I had people on my channel who didn't know that I am actually a mother. Yes, I am a mother of a 5-year-old boy. Yeah, so a little old me has actually got a son. Sometimes it still hasn't sunk in. Sometimes I question myself, like, am I really somebody's mom? Like, I'm actually somebody's mother. Once you become a mother, the first thing you have to realize that your life is no longer yours, okay? It's no longer about you. It's about that other person, that other little person that you have brought into this world, that God has blessed you with, okay? I think I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna start from the beginning. Obviously, I got pregnant. I was with my son's baby father, which I don't usually talk about that. Like, somebody asked me to do a story time about what happened and I should talk about it, but I feel like no, I'd rather not. I'd rather keep him out of my life. Just the way things are, I'd rather not talk about it, just because I respect him and his privacy and his decision. And you know, that's down to him, and I'm not gonna come on here and start like bad naming him and things like that, like, oh, you know, talking about him being a deadbeat dad or anything like that. Like, no, we're not gonna do that, okay? So anyway, I got pregnant, and obviously if you're gonna have sex and you're not properly taking precautions, taking contraception pills, then the chances of you getting pregnant are very high, okay? Like, I was on some sort of contraception, but you know, yeah. You know, them times when you just forget and yeah, it happens and you don't even bother. You just think, oh, you feel like you're immune to this, you know, to the pregnancy. But you're not immune, okay? But anyway, I got pregnant, and for me personally, what I said to myself, like, if I ever got pregnant, I would never like get rid of it regardless of the situation, because I don't believe in, you know, abortions and things like that, because yeah, like, yeesh, that stuff scares me, okay? So I was just like, I'm just gonna, whatever happens, I'm gonna ride with it. I'm gonna do it. If I have to be alone, then so be it, okay? So obviously I got pregnant. I tell the guy, and he's like, what? You know, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even want to get into, okay? So basically he's not around. He's like, he's not ready to be a dad. He's not ready to be a father. Neither was I. Like, I was not ready either. Like, I was, what? I was 21. I was 21, so not too young, but still not mature enough to be somebody's mom, I don't think. I was 21, and I felt like my life was just getting started. And obviously, you know, I go to the bathroom, I take a pregnancy test, and it's like, like positive, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, I actually recorded my reaction. Like, oh my god, I'm actually pregnant, like, shit. So I went through the whole being pregnant alone, you know. He was not there because he was just like, nah. He decided he didn't want to be a part of it, and I was like, that's fine, that's absolutely fine, you know. Like, you don't wanna be a father. I don't want to be a mother either, but this has happened, and we've got to take responsibilities. We've got to deal with the situation at hand, okay? So I decided I'm gonna go ahead with it. I had people judging me, like, why are you gonna have a child now? You're not settled. You're not, how are you gonna bring a child into this world when barely ready and stuff like that. But I'm just like, it's happened, so you want me to do abortion? Like, no, like my decision, I'm gonna just, you know, have the baby. And I did, obviously knowingly that from the beginning I kind of knew that I was going to do this thing by myself. But I was like, how hard can it be, you know, being a single mother, doing, you know, looking after a child. I've looked after other people's babies all my life. So how hard can it be? Okay, how hard can it be? So anyway, I went ahead with the pregnancy. And finally, when my son was born, he decided that he was gonna be part of it, but then he decided again to disappear. So I was like, whatever, I don't even care anymore. So anyway, let's get into the part of, like, you know, raising a child. Okay, so obviously looking after a child is not easy, especially by yourself. You know what they say, like, having a baby, even in a relationship, it can make or break a relationship. Okay, couples really suffer when they haven't really prepared, you know, to do that baby stuff together. Like when you haven't prepared yourself to be, you know, to be parents and look after the child and do what's best for the child. No, when you're on your own, like, you have to do everything, literally. Like, you have to do everything. You have to do the feeding, you have to do, wake up and, you know, bath the baby when they're crying. The only time, like, literally, you have no time for yourself. You know, you have no time for yourself. Okay, so if you like taking naps, if you like going on strolls, if you just like doing your own thing, when you have a baby, you don't get to do any of those things as much as you'd want to, especially the first few months of the baby. I only used to get a shower when my child was sleeping. Even then, I'd have to, like, quick, because if I take any longer, like, oh, I'm gonna just lie in the bath and take a nice dip, he's gonna start crying and I have to get up and go and, you know, sort him out. Okay, so there's none of that. So, like, luckily for me, the first few months I had my mom and she told me to go stay with her. So I stayed with her and she was helping me out and stuff, because my child came through, like, C-section. So obviously I had, like, a massive operation, and C-section is not a joke. If you don't know what that is, go look it up on Google. If you're not one of them people who are squeamish to look at, you know, surgery and blood and all those things, then you can really see how the baby is taken out. But yeah, it's a big, massive operation. So that's what I had, and my baby came out. Then obviously, because I stopped dilating at 5 centimeters, and they were just like, we need to get the baby out because my waters had broken, and I had to, you know, we had to get him out basically, because once the water's gone, it's like, okay, it becomes an emergency. We have to get the baby out because he has no fluids around him. So obviously that's what happened to me. So anyway, back to the situation at hand. Basically, I had my mom helping me to look after him and stuff like that, like just basically helping me to bath him, because I didn't even know how to bath a baby. Okay, I didn't know any of those things. But like, when you're with somebody, at least you can, like, you can like swap turns and rounds or whatever. Like, oh, when the baby wakes up at night, you can go do the feeding. You know, when the baby is crying, you know, maybe the mother sleeps for a bit, the dad, like, does the nappy changing and all those things. So you're swapping around, and, you know, it kind of makes the job a little bit easier. Okay, so when you're alone, it's stressful. You have to do everything by yourself. You don't see sleep in God knows how many months. I don't think I had proper sleep for almost like a year, until he turned like 1. It was always 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 2 hours on, 2 hours off. Like, he's awake, he sleeps for 2 hours, he's awake for 2 hours, he sleeps for 2 hours. And so it's like throughout the nights, the day, like, it was just like that. Like, and the funny thing is, babies, they tend to sleep all day. Like, in the day they'll sleep calm, but when it's nighttime, that's when they want to be alert and they want to play, they want to do things, they want to cry and all those things. Like, we literally used to sleep in the living room, because if I go in the bedroom, he would just cry, and I'd have to, like, put him on my chest and for him to, like, you know, fall asleep again, and then I put him back in his cot bed, and yeah, we go to sleep. But yeah, so that's something, like, just the whole caring for your child thing is hard, you guys. Like, it's hard, but obviously it's rewarding at the same time, because you're just like, I'm going to do this. You love your baby, you want to do what's best for them. And I was grateful that I had a friend as well. Like, when I got back from my mom's, I had a friend who, she used to make some food for me, and then obviously my cousin would come over, clean my house and do all those things. I had like people helping me with other things, but you know, the rest of the things is like, you can't rely on everybody to help you. People will come and help you maybe a few days, maybe today and that, but people are always going to go back to their jobs, their works and all those things, and their lives, okay? And then you're left there by yourself, alone, having to look after the baby. Another thing is, yeah, like I was saying, I never saw sleep for a very long time. So that's one thing. If you really love your sleep, you have to think twice. The next thing is like, obviously having to deal with your child when they're ill. And personally, my child is, you know, obviously mine is even complicated even more now, because my son's been diagnosed with autism. So it's like, it's extra, you know, you're raising a child, but they're like extra special, okay? So it's like even more difficult, because I've never experienced those. Like, I don't know how to deal with those things. So it's kind of a bit of another thing that you have to deal with it with and try and figure it out. So, and it's like, now I have to figure those things out by myself. I don't have anyone to, you know, to, at least we sit together and we're like, you know, telling each other it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be okay. But I'm there by myself. If I have to cry myself to sleep, then yeah, it's, you know, it's a lonely world being a single mother. So I've had people ask me, somebody asked me like, what's it like being a single mother? I say to them that if I knew like it would be this hard to be a single mom, I probably would have been more cautious to, you know, been more cautious to not allow that to happen, and not to be too careless about how I was living my life, and how I was just like not caring about my contraception and stuff like that. So I tell those people that if I was you, I would take, you know, precautions, and not try and obviously get pregnant without being sure of the father, if he's going to be there to help you with, you know, the looking after your child and things like that. Because you need, the child obviously needs both parents, but sometimes the circumstances doesn't always allow, because you might get pregnant and think, you know, the father of your child's going to be there. Sometimes it might be there to begin with, and some of them might be like, this ain't for me, and they leave. So that's what happens. And right now, obviously for me, I don't regret my decision. Like, I made my decision that I'm going to keep my child, and that's what I did. And I dealt with whatever life threw at me. I've dealt with it. I've had support from other people. I'm not going to say I've done it all by myself. I've had other people help me raise my child, because obviously, you know what they say, it takes a community to raise a child, okay? So I've had other people help me, and now that he's in school, it's much easier. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was childcare. Childcare is so hard, especially in this country. I don't know about anywhere else. I know back home in Zambia, like in my country in Zambia, like, or just in Africa maybe, I think that's the tradition. Like, you can leave your child with your neighbor, with your friends. Like, it's so easy to just go, will you look after my child? I'm going, I'm coming. But here, like, everybody has work, everybody has things to do. You can't just go to somebody's house and tell them, oh, will you look after my child? First of all, people are very cautious, because if anything happens to that child, they're scared, like, what if this, what if that? Because in this country, when it comes to children, they take matters very seriously. So if anything happens, you know, that person could go to jail. So people don't want to take risks of looking after other people's children, because of, like, if anything goes wrong. Whereas in Africa, if someone is looking after your child, if your child is doing, you know, it's not acting right, they can even slap them or smack them or tell them, yo, you do not do that. They'll, like, discipline them on your behalf, and that's just the norm in, like, Zambia. But here, you cannot discipline somebody else's child, okay? You can't even lay hands on them if it's not your child, unless you want to go to prison, okay? So it's really hard to get people to look after your child. And if you, like me, before I had my son, I was never at home. I was always busy. If I'm not working, I'm at somebody else's house. I was always traveling. If I'm not in London, I'm in Milton Keynes, I'm in Scotland, I'm here. I was just everywhere, okay? I didn't like staying at home because I was living by myself. And there's nothing to come back to. If I come home, it's either I'm sleeping all day and watching TV, or yeah, like literally doing nothing. And that time, I don't think I was into social media. Obviously, social media wasn't as big as it is now. There was nothing to do, so I'd rather be out and about. But then when you have a child, like, you can't just up and leave. Obviously, most of you know that you can't just leave the house and decide, oh, today I'm gonna go out and just do stuff. Like, obviously in here there's that nightlife and people want to do stuff, people want to do birthdays, people want to do that. So it's really hard, like when you have a child, trying to find somebody to look after your child, so you can go to your friend's birthday, so you can go to your friend's wedding. I've reached that stage where most of my friends are getting married, and it's like these days people say they don't want children in their weddings. They're like, no kids allowed. And so it's like you have to now find somebody to look after your child, and it's really, really hard. Sometimes I have to turn down birthday celebrations only because I cannot find a babysitter. And sometimes people might think I just don't want to go to the event and I'm just, being antisocial. But it is actually hard to actually get people to look after your child. I've been lucky. Sometimes I have my mom to look after him. She doesn't mind. If she's free, she'll take him for the weekend. I have my cousin. If I'm not doing that event with her, then she's more than happy to look after him. I have other friends as well who are, able to look after him. I had somebody who I used to pay to look after him. So just all that. But again, you can't just go around leaving your child with anybody who accepts to look after them. You need to be able to trust these people. You need to be able to know that they're not going to harm your child in any way or form. Because these videos that circulate when you see a childminder hitting a child, like just doing all kinds of things to your children. So you have to be very cautious about that as well. So it's really, really hard. Like that's the one part I found really difficult, and it's like it's kind of helped me to like ground me, to be at home and do stuff. I think that's what even made me to start my YouTube and my hair, because like I was at home, and so I was spending a lot of time on the internet and just a lot of time reading up about things that interested me, which one of them was like doing hair. So like, which got me into obviously starting a YouTube channel. So in a way, it's like a blessing in disguise, okay? So I'm very grateful that I've got to where I am now, like almost getting 3,000 subscribers, which is, it's not easy to get 3,000 people to click subscribe to your channel. And I'm very grateful for you guys who have stayed and stuck around with me from day one, and those of you who are new, I see you and I'm grateful for you guys. But yeah, so that's one thing, childcare, and obviously going to nursery before you start school. Obviously here in England, every child is they're allowed to have like 15 hours free. They give you 15 hours free of nursery of your choice. You can choose for them to go to a nursery, and the government will pay for it for 15 hours, so you can break that 15 hours up in 1 week and have your child. So I had my child going to nursery for like 3 days a week, which kind of helped. And I have at least a bit of my own time, okay, a bit of my own time to do things that I want, to do things that I like, that makes me happy, aside from looking after my child all the time. Because you get lost in looking after a child, you tend to forget about yourself, and that's another thing that I try to tell other mothers who are like mothers who are mothers to be. I tell them, my advice is, when you have a baby, your time obviously is no longer yours, and you're going to be focusing on your child all the time. You'll be like, I need to I need to do this for my child, I need to do this. You forget about yourself. Like, you forget when was the last time you wore makeup, when was the last time you made yourself feel good, when was the last time you took time out to just look after yourself. Because you tend to forget those things and you just focus on your child. And it's very important to look after yourself as well. So him being in nursery gave me that time to really focus on myself, and you know, just to unwind, relax, and take some time out for myself. Like, self-care is very, very important. Don't look at it like, oh, so you know, when you don't have anyone to look after, like, you don't really bother with those things and you don't really value those things. But when you have a child, you tend to value self-care, a time alone. Like, I didn't know how much I like being by myself until I have my child. When he goes to school, I really this sounds so bad, but I enjoy being alone. Like, when he comes back, he does things like this, he starts annoying me, and yeah, it's like, he's his own little person, obviously. So he has his own little character who likes to wind me up, like he's doing right now, because I'm recording this video and he's outside and banging things to get my attention. We're just gonna ignore that right now, because I know what he's doing. Self-care, looking after yourself. Don't forget about yourself. Yes, it's good to look after your child and focus on them, but also focus on yourself. That's my advice. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is, you know, being a single mom can be stressful. Like, stressful. People go into depression. People go into postpartum depression. Some people, they never even get diagnosed for it. You know, where you just, I've known people who've, you know, given birth and they're like, oh, I don't even want to see this child, like, I don't even want to look at it, you know, things like that. So those things are real and needs to, you know, get checked. And if you feel like you're depressed after having a child, you know, you need to like seek medical advice and things like that. So it can be hard because babies cry, okay? They look cute on pictures, they look cute when we're matching outfits. The reality is they cry, okay? They cry a lot. Sometimes they cry for no apparent reason, okay? I've had my child cry for like a good hour and I did not know what to do with him. Luckily, I was with my mom and we ended up taking him to A&E, you know, accident and emergency service at night, midnight, because he was just crying and crying and crying. And we were like, what is wrong with you, child? And he just cried. At the time, I think he must have been like 6 months or something like that. And he cried and cried. We took him there and they said nothing's wrong with him. And he stopped crying. Like, when we got there, he stopped crying and I'm like, really? So obviously what they do advise is like, when your child is crying like that, you can get stressful and you can be like, stop screaming. So they advise you to kind of like just leave the child alone, as long as they're not going to harm themselves. Put them in their basket, in their cot, and walk away, because it's very easy to get frustrated, get angry, and people have ended up shaking their babies and saying, stop crying, and obviously killed their child because of that, because obviously shaking, you might shake the brains out of them, and you know, it's a horrific thing, and it's very sad that things like that have happened. So yeah, those things can happen. Obviously there's the part where they poo, changing nappies. Those, obviously, women, we're not very grossed out of those things. We kind of like, we grow up kind of maybe looking after our little nieces and nephews, so we get used to that. We learn how to do those things. So there's that side of things as well. Like, when they throw up, when they get sick, it can be very scary, especially if you're by yourself. There was a time my child was sick and he was coughing a lot and he was throwing up at the same time, and I did not know what to do. I was just like, oh my god, what am I gonna do, you know? So like, I had to just go to A&E and they took care of him. So obviously it's good to at least have somebody by your side to help you through all these things that happen. It's nice to have somebody who you can, you know, at least, if both of you at least don't know what to do, you can find the solution together, figure it out together. But when you're by yourself, sis, you have to figure everything out by yourself. You have to like try and ask other people, try and find out other people. It's really hard, but it's rewarding at the same time, okay? Like, even when you have a partner, like, looking after a child is just not easy. Some people end up arguing and breaking up. Some people, they work together and, you know, raise that child. But in my opinion, I look at it and I think, okay, yeah, it's very, very hard. You can't just do anything that you want anymore. You can't just go out. You can't just, you know, travel. And babies don't come with the menu, so a lot of things you don't know, like you just don't know. So you learn as you go. Yeah, like that is a bit of me and my story and on being a single mother. I hope I made sense in some of this what I've been saying, because I feel like I've just been rambling because I had no a structure of how I was going to do this video. But I hope that you've learned something from the video. Like, my advice is be safe, obviously, if you're gonna have sex, and if you're not ready to be a mother, I'd say take precautions, take contraceptions. Don't go and you know, get pregnant and then start doing abortions. But then again, who am I to tell you what to do? It's your body at the end of the day. But for me, I'd rather prevent it from happening than having to start, you know, doing abortions when it's happened already because you are not cautious enough. I mean, that's everyone's, you know, they do things differently, but personally that's how I would rather do it. So, like, learning from my previous experience, I've made sure that I'm not going to have any children anytime soon until I am settled, I am married, I am with somebody that I know we're going to do this together, we're ready, we want to, you know, we want to have a child. Like, even then when I get married, we're still going to, like, you know, set some time aside to just enjoy our married life, you know, enjoy our marriage, and then start having kids. Because, yeah, children, you know, they're good, they're fun, but they have the wild side that, you know, a lot of people don't really mention, a lot of things that people don't really go into, like what can happen, you know, especially with my son, that, you know, he's got allergies. The first time it happened, thank God I was with my cousin, and we were both bawling our eyes out because my son he ate something and it started blowing up, like his face just blew up, and I was just like, oh my god. At first he started growing like small, like his lips are growing, and then now I'm looking at him, like, I'm asking my cousin, I'm like, does it look different to you? And she's like, oh, I don't know, she was on her phone. So I was like, let me just call 111. That's like the number when it's non-emergency for the NHS. So I like, let me dial 111. When I was dialing the number, I had him on my laps, and I was dialing the number, and my baby's face just started growing like bigger and bigger, and I was just like, this is not a 1-1 situation, this is a 9-9 situation. Like, I need to ring 9-9 right now. So I called them, and they were like, luckily they came within, I think it must have been like 5 minutes or so, or like 3 minutes, because when it comes to anaphylactic shock, they do not mess about. They come like so fast, and I'm gonna get emotional because that day was just like literally so it was so emotional, because I've never seen that happen before to my child. Like, I've seen it in movies when people have allergy reaction, but it's like it was happening in real life to me. And these people come, and my son's face, he looked like he's been stung by a bee. Like, if you see how a bee, how somebody's face look when they've been stung by a bee, that's how my son's face was like. His lip was literally dropping down here, and I was just like, oh my god. And obviously, thank god these paramedics, they came as quick as they could, and then we had just a bunch of people, somebody injecting him adrenaline, somebody putting oxygen on him. It was just like chaos in my living room. And yeah, me and my cousin were like literally bawling our eyes out. We're just like crying, like, oh my god, what is going on? What is going on? I didn't really know what that was. So obviously, imagine if I was by myself and that was happening. I honestly don't know how I've done, but it's happened again. Obviously, after that wasn't just the first episode, but it happened again and again. And this time around, I happened to be by myself, but I've been like trained on how to deal with it, so I'm kind of like calm about it. And the paramedics, when they will come, they look at me like, you've done really well, you've dealt with it really good. But it's like, I'm not that person who like panics outside, like screaming. I panic from the inside. Like, outside I'll look like I'm so calm, I'm like poised, and you know, but inside my head I'm like like I'm screaming, you know. So that's how I kind of deal with situations like that. I don't panic like right there in the moment. I'm like, no, I'm not like, oh my god, I don't do that. But in my head, it's, you know, there's fire, there's fireworks, there's things going on. So I was just like, imagine if I was by myself, I don't know what I would have done. So I'm so grateful to my cousin for always being there, my ride or die. So yeah, guys, that's, I just wanted to let you in a little bit on that, about my experience really on being a single mother. I've really enjoyed it. You know, it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride, but we're still riding it. We're still going. We're still doing this, and you know, I love my baby to bits. And yeah, like, you know, even if his dad decides that he's not around, like, it's calm, it's cool. Like, you know, we're doing this. I've been doing it, raising him. You know, I don't want him to come back later on when my child is, you know, some next, you know, celebrity, big man, president of the, you know, well, not president of the United Kingdom, because there is no president, or maybe the, you know, but when my child makes it big, and then he'll be like, that's my son, you know, I knew that boy good, that's my son. I'll be like, nigga, where? But no. But yeah, and yeah, so I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something from this video. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.